Hello, friends. Welcome aboard the Round Trip Stories podcast, where we share stories of moving around the world and back again, reflecting on the lessons we've learned along the way. My name is Melissa.
And my name is Tracy, and we're so glad you're joining us for today's episode. Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Pafoua Her Pistoresi, a Hmong American travel blogger, mom of one, and ministry leader. She spent 4 years of teaching ESL at an international Christian school in Wuhan, China, where she took advantage of all that it had to offer, including paying off college debt, saving, and traveling to 20 countries. But a relationship was calling, and she decided to return to the U.S., where she eventually married and now applies many skills which she acquired overseas to her California life. Listen to Pafoua's stories about the layers of adjustments and reinventions upon her return to the U.S. So buckle your seatbelts and make sure your tray tables and seats are in their upright positions as part 2 of Pafoua's round trip story gets ready for takeoff. Hi, everyone. We're back for part 2 of our interview with Pafoua Her Pistoresi, and we're so excited to hear about her repatriation story. Thanks for being here again.
Hi, yes, thank you. I'm so glad to be back.
And if you are just joining us and did not listen to part 1 of Pafoua's story, please go back and listen to the episode right before this so that you can hear about her growing up and moving to Wuhan and spending 4 years as a teacher there, because we are going to pick up now with the return when she moved back to the United States after her time in China.
Okay, so Pafoua, why don't you start telling us about when you returned to the U.S., why you left, and where you landed?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So I moved to Wuhan, China in 2014, and I signed 2 contracts. So I was there 4 years, returned in 2018. I left. I feel like there's a lot that goes into that question. The main reason was that I met my husband online, and we were thinking, okay, if I was going to continue to stay overseas, our relationship might not progress. So ultimately, the decision was to leave if I wanted to get married and start a family. And so when I came back, I actually moved in with my parents again, lived under their house for 2 years. I first applied to a job at an elementary school, and that was really hard. So I actually left that position mid-school year and found another position at Colorado Christian University as an admissions counselor and did that up until we got married. And when we got married, I moved from Colorado to Merced, California, where I currently am at. We are now married, have been married for 5 years, and we have one little son, Enzo. He's going to be 2 in a couple weeks here.
Very nice.
So, Pafoua, tell us about what you're doing nowadays besides taking care of Enzo and being a wife. You're doing other stuff too, right?
Yes, yeah. So when I first moved here, I was actually teaching at the community college. I taught ESL, English to speakers of other languages, ESL, and there were Japanese students coming to school here in Merced. They had to pass a TESOL test in order to be accepted into the school. So I was teaching that class as well as a community of Spanish-speaking parents. So that was really cool. When I had my son, I stopped doing that, and now I just stay home with him for the most part. But I have also joined a ministry called MomCo, and it's just a group of moms coming together every other Thursday to hang out, chat, and talk about life and hopefully form friendships, as well as it's great because Enzo now has some friends too.
Mm-hmm.
I also have this entrepreneurial spirit. And so between all the moving and transitioning, I wanted also something to be kind of permanent. So I just got into the online digital world of marketing and started a travel blog because I did travel to so many places while I was living abroad, and I gained a passion for traveling. So I wanted to share all of that with my readers. And in that kind of wanted to find financial freedom through digital marketing. And so I started a YouTube channel kind of documenting my journey through that. And also now I am trying to monetize on TikTok. So just a couple like online things that I'm looking
Yeah,
into.
fun. And I'm sure that some of that will probably come up a little bit in the rest of our interview, but we will definitely link to your blog and other resources online so that people can
Thank
check
you.
those out. So,
Yeah.
as we get into sort of stories about your repatriation, moving back after being in China for 4 years, tell us a story about your initial reentry transition back to life here.
Yeah, I think because I was single, I didn't really have anywhere that I wanted to land besides being home. So I moved back in with my parents, and it's always hard when you move back in with your parents because you go away, you become this new person, kind of grow up as an adult, and now you're back to feeling like a kid again. And so that was
Mhm.
very different. I felt like I had curfew again. I had to ask permission to go places even though, like, I didn't have to, but I felt like I needed to. Um,
Yeah.
but the best thing, though, was that I got reconnected with my siblings. So we were all kind of under my parents' house at this point, and so it was nice to just be with them and reconnect and regrow our relationship to, like, where we are now 4 years later.
Mhm.
That's really sweet. How do you think that your going to university and your travels to China and then back have influenced your siblings?
Yeah, I think definitely positively. I think probably my youngest sister was most affected, Beverly. I think she just saw like the independence, or I guess my bravery, right? I think she saw my bravery going overseas, and I think she wanted that for herself. Because like for me, at the time that I left, a lot of my friends were settling down with families, and nobody was really thinking about the world beyond themselves. They were content going to work every day and getting married and raising a family, and I just felt more beyond that. And so I think my sister is feeling the same way. She actually graduated college 2 years ago, and she moved to Virginia, which was a big surprise to all of us. So, very exciting for her. She's actually working at the Pentagon right now. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
really cool. And she just wanted to have that experience to be away from home base, to be away from parents, to grow up and be
Mhm.
independent. So, I think that it was a positive influence on them, just seeing me go back and forth.
Yeah, we can inspire each other by stepping out and doing things that look scary,
Mhm.
whether, you know and so she may not have gone to another country, but she went to a very different place.
Yeah.
That's neat. Well, tell us a story about another layer of what was hard or anything else that was hard about the transition of coming back.
I think one of the hardest part was finding a job, landing, re-landing, right, coming back to America. Um, I thought it would be easy because being overseas, I felt like my resume was packed.
Mm.
Had that experience just being abroad. I had the experience teaching K through 6, and then Tracy was actually my director. So when she left, I kind of landed in that position, became the director of the language department, which included the English and the Chinese. But I was also teaching what we called EC3, the preschool class, the 3-year-old classroom. And so I felt like I had so much experience. And with the director position, there was so much more that went into that, like observing teachers, learning the processes, like the behind the scenes, right? The administration side of things.
So you were really advancing
Right.
kind of, in your career, in your
Yes.
levels at that point. Yeah.
Right. So I thought, oh, it'll be fine finding a job back home. But It was actually really hard finding a job. Well, coming back, my professional experience here in America was a lot harder because I was so used to the international school that being in an American public
Mm,
school was so hard to like feel like I fit in. There was more red tape that I had to follow. There was uh,
mhm,
a lot of rules with the ESL students that we had to follow, more of the standardized testing and all of
mhm.
that. So it was just a lot harder for me to land in the school.
That makes sense, that coming back and going into an education system after, when you've had a different experience would be very challenging
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
shocking.
Yes. The biggest thing was the students, right? At WIS, you had parents invested in their students' education. You had more of the professional background for the parents, whereas I was in a Title I school here in America where it was maybe single parent household, maybe no parent household. The population was just different and so it was a lot harder as well with classroom management and how to
Mhm,
teach to these
mhm.
students. It was just hard all around.
Yeah. And that
It just felt like I was the only one experiencing this because my ESL co-worker, he just kind of took it in stride, and I was like, "Okay, maybe this is the normal thing that people do. Maybe this is the normal type of work environment that American public schools have, because I don't know any different." And so I just felt like a mental toll. Like, I wasn't teaching these kids, I was pretty much their parent, right? Like telling them to not climb on the chairs and sit down. And it was over and over again. Like we were not getting anywhere. And then also,
mm,
they had PTSD from whatever was going on in their home and bringing that to school. And I've never experienced that either.
mhm.
So, yeah, it was definitely very hard. My mental health kind of took a downward turn, and I decided to leave mid year. I think I left
Yeah,
in November.
And
yeah.
Pafwa, I'm glad that we're talking about this because, of course, like wherever we are in the world, we want to do a good job
Mm-hmm.
and we want to be professional and we want to give it our best. And
And we wanna persevere. And
oh, yes, we want to
Yes.
persevere. But sometimes we do have to make a decision because it's not the right fit.
Right.
Especially in teaching, you expect, okay, you do your full year. But we've stepped down from positions mid-year because it
Mhm,
just wasn't the right fit. And it was
Yeah.
also hard on our families or
mhm.
taking a toll on our mental health. So
Mental health, physical health, it
yeah,
all.
yeah. It's not ideal, but we've got 3 women in this Zoom room right now who have experienced that.
Mhm. I also, my family, we left our overseas assignment
Mhm.
technically early. Like, not only our first, term, we cut it short by a few months, but we were supposed to go back for multiple terms,
Yeah.
and we didn't. It's funny, I have a sticker on my desk right now that says "Never give up," but I think that it doesn't mean we don't ever stop doing something.
Mhm.
We never give up hope, and we never give up loving people, and there are a lot of things that we never give up, but it doesn't mean that we don't ever decide, "Okay, I need to move back to my home country," or "I need
Mhm.
to quit this job because it's just not working and everybody is suffering for it and somebody else would be able to come in and do a better job right now than
Mhm.
what I'm doing." We don't have to be martyrs and just think that we have to keep going, and that can apply to, life abroad, and it can apply to jobs where we are.
Okay,
Go
well,
ahead.
do wanna say one thing, Papa. It was funny because, the reason Melissa and I are good friends and coworkers is because we have a lot of things in common, right? But we also have things that complement each other. First year I came back, Melissa and I worked at the same school, and then I changed jobs. So I did put the whole school year in, and then I was at another school for a year and a half, and then I left mid-year, and then COVID happened, and
Okay.
then Melissa and I ended up at the same school again. Okay, so I was kind of embarrassed, in the get to know you Zoom room. They're like, "Oh, tell us about where you were before." And so I was like, "Well, I was in China and then I came back and then I was here for a year and then here for a year and a half and then blah, and I'm like, I promise I'm not this flaky, but it sounds like it because I've been jumping around." And then
Mhm.
Melissa, I don't know if you like Zoom chatted me or we talked later. You're like, yeah, that was kind of my experience too, which
Mhm.
makes me think that it takes a while to find your place again.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and that's the normal part of a return. It just
Mhm.
takes us a while to find our place again.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think even now, what is it, 7 years back, I feel like I've just started to find my footing again, like, find my people, right? And feel like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm, like, actually feeling resettled.
Mhm. You had only been back for a couple of years when COVID happened, and you were
Mhm.
just barely through the first couple of years of kind of reacclimating, and, um, I just feel like that changed whatever kind of adjustment people
Yeah.
or transitions or things people were going through in life right then at that point was very much twisted and weird for for a while, so, yeah.
Yes, COVID did do a number on us.
Well, tell us about something that was helpful for you during, your transition back or since then, other transitions you've made. What's been helpful?
Yeah, I think the biggest help was, finding like-minded people. And, I had a friend who we worked together in Wuhan. She stayed an extra year, and then she came back to the States as well. And just being with her and reconnecting with her, reminiscing about our time abroad, talking about the rhythms of being back and how we can help each
Mhm.
other and resettle and all of this. I think just having that one person was so helpful in the transition. And it doesn't have to be like a big group of expatriates, right? We like
Right.
even me being here near Tracy, I know, okay, at least I have one person nearby who I can talk about this experience with, right? It's not just like
Mhm.
I'm in this community, but nobody's really experienced this in the church that I'm at or even with my extended family here. But just having someone nearby to like reminisce and talk through and things still pop up here and they're like, "Oh, I remember this about that." And sometimes I'll bring things up to my husband and he'll be like, "What?" But I'm like, "You
Yeah.
just don't get it." So, just having someone who gets it, and being able to talk with them, maybe even if in person, at least make the effort to FaceTime or to Zoom,
Mhm.
and just have a little session. I think that's so helpful.
When you were returning home, did you get that book from the company, Returning Well?
Yes, I think you
By
told me about it. I did not.
okay, because that book also suggests, like, having a person to meet monthly with to talk about
Oh,
all of these
okay.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a workbook,
Mhm.
right? But it also gives you suggestions about share this with one person,
Yeah.
and that was really
Mhm.
helpful.
Yeah, and something like that would probably ask, like, some of the deeper questions too, right? That even I might not be able to think up of on my own.
Mhm. Right, because I think that having resources like that can be helpful because sometimes we just need somebody else to put into words something that we are feeling, but we haven't
Mhm.
been able to quite, you know, understand. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know that Tracy and I have talked in our, various episodes about people that filled that type of role for us and how helpful it was. So, yes, we definitely encourage everybody to try to find and hope and pray people can find somebody that they can process the
Yeah.
return experience with because it is a thing. It takes time. It's not a fast.
It's not a never a fast transition.
No, and it's like your first year teaching. We were saying in our first conversation that first year teaching is hard no matter what. I think your first year back home after living somewhere else is gonna be hard in a variety of ways. The first everythings are challenging no matter what, and
Yeah.
it's good to have people to talk to. Yeah. So we are getting close to the end of our time with you, Pafoua. And my last question is what we call our choose your own adventure question. So you get to pick from this list of questions. So, A, what rhythms do you have in place which allow you to remember your time abroad? Or B, what do you do with all the feels, memories, relationships, love for the place and people, etc.? Or C, do you have a favorite funny story about your time abroad or transition back? So which of those do you want to answer?
Yeah, I think what do you do with all the feels? Um,
Okay.
when you live abroad, you are able to make lifelong friends. And I've left with those friends. And even though we're all in different places now, when we do meet up, we just start right back up, pick right back up where we are
Mhm.
at. And so it's been really nice to have that core group of people that we say, okay, once a year, we're going to meet up somewhere. And we've been pretty good at doing that. I think it's
Yay.
been pretty consistent for the past 3 or 4 years now. So it's nice to just be able to see them again. And when you are abroad, especially in a place like Wuhan, where it was very much you see them 24/7, you teach with
Mm,
them, work with them, hang out on the weekends with them, and then go to church with them, you kind of just get the insight to who they really are as a person. And so with this group of friends, I feel like I can truly be myself
yeah.
and there's no judgment. And so it's just nice to have that space and that time to gather again and just reconnect.
I love that. Now,
Mhm.
are these friends all in North America, in the US, or are they from
Um,
all over the world, or
yeah.
where does everybody live now?
Most of them are here in North America. One of them is in Canada, and then the other one, she married a Chinese man, and so she's still in Wuhan, still teaching at WIS. So, yeah,
Okay.
so whenever she comes home, we try to meet up near her house. But this past year, they came out here to California, and we were able to go to the mountains and explore Yosemite and go to the Bay Area, and
Yay.
so it was cool.
Aw, that's great. Those
Hmm.
yeah, those reunions are so special. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Well, Pafwa, we have a couple conclusion questions. So please tell us a final story about how your time abroad continues to add value to your life now.
Yeah, I think I grew up, right? I was there in my 20s, grew up as an adult, and I kind of became this jack of all trades there. I made like invitations, worked with Canva. I even decorated a few of my Chinese friends' weddings, so kind of became like an event decorator kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then I taught music. I don't have music background or anything, but I taught music for the 3, 4, 5-year-old classes. Um, so I just kind of like picked up all these new skills. And so coming back, I think that helped me be more adaptable to changes and to exploring all of these other strengths that I feel like I've gained. So yeah, I plan events now for one of the churches that we're at and part of a event planning ministry for the women there. It's been really nice being able to use my skills that I kind of like just dabbled in
Yeah.
abroad and bring it
Yeah.
back here. And now I feel passionate about them.
Yeah. As we go through life, no matter where we are, we gain experiences and skills, and we get to take those with us wherever we go.
Hmm.
I like that. New passions that you started there and are applying here.
So this hasn't come up yet in our conversation. I've looked at your website and
Oh,
your
yes.
travel blog, and you have traveled to so many different
Yes.
places. When did you do that?
So that was really nice about this job that we're in, right? And I didn't talk about this. And I think it's helpful if you're thinking about this as a single person or again as I don't know, as a married couple, however you think of it. The school provided all the furnishing, right? The school provided all of that. They pay for your airfare, so you really just have to think about the food you eat, maybe your Wi-Fi and the electricity. I was able to save so much money, and I was able to pay off 7 student loans while I was abroad. So, like, I
Wow.
traveled to 20 countries, paid off 7 student loans, and was able to save money coming back from repatriating back to America. So Yeah, 20 countries. The cool thing
And you did
about
that all while you were teaching,
Yes.
while you were living over
Yes, in the
there?
4 years I was there. So, what's cool about Wuhan and maybe LDI as a whole, this company, is that you get both Chinese and American holidays because it's an international school. So I felt like we were getting a break every other month or maybe every 4 weeks. Um, so and that's where I gained these lifelong friends too, right? We were all single. We all were like, okay, we're all off together. Let's go explore and do stuff. So we would just travel to all these places together, and you learn somebody's character when you travel with them. And that's how we kind of grew
Yeah.
to become close friends. So yeah, I've been to a lot of Southeast Asia, South Korea, and we've traveled a little bit within China, and then the last couple of years, because we kind of explored all of Asia, me and my roommate, we did a 4-week trip in Europe, and we hit England, Italy, Ireland, and France. And so it was just so nice to be able to travel like that and save the money and also pay off the debt. And then when I got back, I wanted an outlet to talk about all of that because nobody in my life has traveled to 20 countries, so who is it gonna tell? And so I started looking
Yeah.
into blogging. And I had actually started blogging before I went to China because I wanted kind of like a diary, right, for my church family to
Uh-huh.
read about while I was there. But I wasn't very consistent with it, and it wasn't what it is now. It was just kind of like a diary online, whereas my travel blog right now is its own website, and it does generate me some dollars per month. I haven't really focused on it in the last year or so, but yeah, it's really nice to just write down itineraries, what we did, and give ideas for people especially if they're a first-time traveler to that country.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what's the main traffic that you get for that website?
I started talking about Asian dramas. I mean, growing up, my mom was really into Thai dramas, and then overseas, I had friends who started getting into Korean dramas, and so I was like in COVID, right? COVID, nobody was traveling, so I was like, "How can I get traffic to my website?" So I was like, "Well, you can't travel, you can just watch the dramas." So I started talking about all these Thai dramas that people go watch and talking about Korean dramas, just giving options. So a lot of my traffic right now is actually to the Asian dramas more than it is to the places, but still
Oh,
very
that's
cool.
funny.
Yeah.
So, you have planetaway.com
Yes.
and you have
Yes.
herwonderfulworld.com. Do you wanna explain what the difference is between
Yeah.
those 2?
Yeah, definitely. Um, so Her Wonderful World is the original travel blog, and that is where I started off with um, the itineraries to different places, different countries. And then I also added a little bit about teaching abroad. Like if somebody wanted to go abroad, I have some stuff on there for them, resources and things. And then that's where I added the Asian dramas. And so because the
Uh-huh.
Asian dramas kind of outweigh the travel and the teaching, I decided to start another website to kind of transfer all my travel things over and just be purely travel. So my hope is to move all of my travel over to Planet Away, but right now that website only has I think 2 or 3 posts on Hawaii, so it's not very robust yet.
Hey, so we can kinda keep an eye on both on that and
Yeah.
see how you develop that as, in between
Yes.
feeding your toddler and, managing life and ministries and all of
Yes,
those other fun kind of things. Okay,
definitely.
cool.
Yeah, and then I've started up some Etsy shops as well, and that's where the YouTube comes in. I just talk about all these experiences that I've done online. Right now, I'm trying to get into social media marketing, so I actually just got a video to go viral, and so now it's, like, generating some income, so I'm excited to see where that goes on TikTok. But, yeah, just
Yeah.
trying to find ways to bring in some income even when I'm at home.
And could you please give us a last word of encouragement or advice for our listeners?
Yeah, so I moved abroad when I was single, right? So I can't really speak to anybody who's married, although I did have married friends who went with us as well, and they had young kids. So you can definitely, if you have young kids or however your kids are, you can definitely make this work if you have the urge or the calling to go overseas. But if you are single and if you don't have commitments and you're thinking about going abroad, I would highly encourage considering going abroad. And you pick a place that you feel like you could live in, or pick a place that you feel you are comfortable in, and God's going to show up wherever you are. And the best thing is that you gain that global perspective. And then you also gain the lifelong friends and the experience to think back on. And I think that's just so rich. It grows you as a person, and you're able to better understand like your neighbor when you move back. And so it's just, yeah, it really
Mhm.
broadens your horizons.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love how you say you are better able to understand your neighbor coming back.
Hmm.
I love that. We have neighbors wherever we go.
Yes. Yeah.
Pafoua, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. We are really so grateful for all your stories and your insights and opening up the world to us and to our listeners.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely. This was very life-giving. So I had a great time chatting with you guys and just reminiscing and
Yay.
talking about all the things. It's been really good.
As we land this interview, we hope that you have been inspired by Pafoua's stories. She continued to practice her bravery by moving back to her family home and teaching in the public schools in the U.S., both huge transitions from the freedom of living alone and working in a small private international school in China. Pafoua then moved to another community where she knew few except her new husband. She now continues to use her skills of adaptability, creativity, and tech savvy in her role as mom and in the world of marketing. She encourages anyone to try teaching overseas, where they will find lifelong friends and fast opportunities for professional growth. No matter what leg of the journey you're on, friends, we are grateful you have brought us along with you.
Come back next time to hear from our next guest, Marie-Cécile Colombe, an independent education consultant originally from France. She began her expat experiences in university, then married and went abroad again and again with her family to India, China, and the United Arab Emirates. We interview Marie-Cécile specifically about her time in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, which happened to coincide with COVID. And then we talk to her about her return to France. You won't want to miss Marie-Cécile's episode.
If you're enjoying our podcast, we'd love it if you would leave us a review in your podcast app. And don't forget, you can visit our website at roundtripstories.com to see photos of our guests and to join our email list. And of course, tell your friends to travel the world with us. No passport, no packing, and no goodbyes required. Thanks so much for listening, friends. We'll see you next time.